Hi children, welcome to our channel Mark, Mother of CBSE Kids, The Rise of Wisdom. Today I want to explain question and answers from Science Chapter 3, The Skeletal and Muscular System. First main, answer the following. First question, what is the function of bone marrow? Answer is, first, what is the bone? Bones are made up of tissues. Bones have nervous and blood vessels. Bones are hard outside, but they are soft and sponge inside. Okay, let's read the answer. Bone marrow is a soft sponge tissue inside the bones where new blood cells are formed. See, this picture is an example for the bone marrow. See, this is the bone and this is the bone marrow, and these red lines is there na, these are the blood cells. These are the blood cells. Blood cells are formed in the bone. See, these are the sponge bones. These are the, see here, bone marrow. Bone marrow is a soft sponge tissue inside the bone. This is the bone and this is the inside of the bone. This picture all, this is the inside of the bone. This is the bone marrow. Is present inside the bone, and also here new blood cells are formed here. This is a all about bone marrow. See, second question. Name different types of movable joints in our body. Answer is hinge joint. This picture is example for the hinge joints. First, what is a hinge joint? A hinge joint is defined as the joint between two bones that allows movement only in one direction. For example, elbows, fingers, knees, and toes. These are the example for the hinge joints. And next, pivot joints. This picture is a example for the pivot joints. And the pivot joint is present between the skull and the backbone. This joint allows sideways as well as up and down movements. Okay, this is about pivot joint. And here ball and socket joint. This picture is the example for the ball and socket joint. The ball, see here, the ball shaped end, this is the end, the ball shaped end of the one bone fits into the cup shaped socket of the other bone. See, this is the cup shaped socket of the other bone. These joints allow movements in any direction. For example, the ball and socket joints examples are hip and the shoulder joints are example of this type of joints. This is all about the hinge joints, pivot joint, ball and socket joints. We call these are all movable joints. Third question. How do straightened muscles look? Answer is, straightened muscles have stripes on them and they look like stripes on the body of the zebra. See, this picture is an example for the straightened muscle tissues. See, straightened muscles have the stripes on them. These lines are the stripes. Okay, the striated muscles have the stripes on them, and they look like the stripes on the body of the zebra. These are the stripes. These muscles are under our control. Okay, I am giving more about striated muscles. See, these muscles are under our control. We can move them according to our will. These are also known as voluntary muscles. Voluntary muscles means they are under our control. We call the voluntary muscles. For example, straightened muscles are present our arms, legs, hands, and feet. This is the more about the straightened muscles. And also this picture is an example for the straightened muscles. Fourth question. Why are the last two ribs called floating ribs? Answer is the last two pairs of ribs are called the floating ribs as they are attached only to the backbone. See, this is the this picture is example for the floating ribs. See, this total we call the rib cage. The rib cage made up of 12 pairs of bow-shaped bones. This we call the bow-shaped bones. It protects the heart and lungs. The rib cage has another long bone in the front called the sternum. See, this we call the front bone. This front bone we call the sternum. The ribs are attached to the sternum in the front. See here the front. This is the front and this is the back. This is the ribs are attached. This we call the ribs. These ribs attached in the front sternum and to the backbone. This is the backbone at the back. The last two ribs. See here the last two pairs of ribs. This is the one pair and this is the one pair. The last two pairs of ribs are attached to only the backbone. This we call the floating ribs. This floating ribs. The last two pairs of ribs is called the floating ribs as they are attached only to the backbone. That's why we call this one is the floating ribs. Fifth question. Are human beings vertebrates? Explain why. First, what is the vertebrates? Bones that form the backbone. That is the vertebrate. The backbone is made up of 33 bones called vertebrae. They form a column. They form a column called the vertebral column, which protects the spinal cord. This is the backbone. Backbone made up of 33 bones. Okay, this is the more about vertebrate. Let's we read the answer. Answer is yes, as they have vertebral column. This is all about vertebral column. A human is a vertebrate as we have a backbone and spinal cord. That's why human beings are vertebrates. Sixth question. Differentiate between pectoral girdle and pelvic girdle. First, we know about the girdle. The girdles are a set of bones that form a semicircular structure to which other bones are joined. We have two girdles. Let's we read the answer. Pectoral girdle forms the shoulder and pelvic girdle forms the hip. See, this picture is example for the pectoral girdle. See, this we call this part we call the pectoral girdle and forms the shoulder. And this is the pelvic girdle, forms the hip. This is the difference between the pectoral girdle and the pelvic girdle. Answer the following questions in detail. First question. How can we say that cardiac muscles are involuntary in nature? First, we know about the cardiac muscles. Our heart is made of cardiac muscles. These muscles are not attached to any bone. Cardiac muscles are very strong and they don't get tired. These muscles are also involuntary in nature. What is the meaning of involuntary? Involuntary muscles of our body are not under our control. That we call the involuntary in nature. Some examples of involuntary is breathing, digestion, heartbeat, eyes reflexes. These are all examples for the involuntary. Now we read the answer. Cardiac muscles are involuntary in nature as they are not under our control. The muscles of the heart keep working 24 hours a day throughout our lifetime. This is all about the cardiac muscles involuntary and how we can say that cardiac muscles are involuntary in nature. This is total explanation for this question. Second question. What is the difference between a tendon and a ligament? Answer is a tendon is a fibrous connective tissues that attaches voluntary muscles to bone. See, what is the fibrous connective tissues do? This is a supports and hold bones, protects muscles and other tissues. This is all do with the fibrous connective tissues. A tendon is a fibrous connective tissue that attaches voluntary muscles to bone. What is the voluntary muscle? Voluntary muscle is under our control that we call the voluntary muscles. For example of the voluntary muscles are arms, legs, hands, feet. Those are all the examples for the voluntary muscles. Voluntary muscles are under our control. These are all is a tendon. See, a tendon is a fibrous connective tissues that attaches voluntary muscles to bone. See, this picture is example for the tendon. See, this is the elbow bone. This is the elbow bone and this is the muscle and this is the tendon. Tendon is a fibrous connective tissues that attaches the voluntary muscles to the bone. This is the tendon. Okay, this is the all about the tendon. See here ligament. Whereas ligaments are bones of fiber-like connective tissues that help to connect two bones together in the joints. Hold the bones together and also control the movement of bones. See, ligaments are in a different shaped in our body, different shaped and sizes in the body. Like pieces of strings, arch shaped, like that ligaments are there. See, this picture is This picture is example for the ligaments. See, this is the ligaments. Ligaments that attaches bone to bone. This is the ligament. Ligaments that attaches bone to bone. See here, this ligament helps to connect two bones together in the joints. This is the elbow joints. This is the elbow joints and help to connect two bones together in the joints. Hold the bones. See here. Here this ligament is hold the bones together and also control the movement of the bones. This is all the role of the ligaments in our body. Third question. Why are striped muscles called voluntary muscles? We know what is the voluntary muscles do. Voluntary muscles is under our control. That is the first thing. See here. Answer is the striped muscles are under our control and we can move them according to our will. Hence, they are called voluntary muscles. We know the examples of this one is the arms, legs, hands, feet. Those are all examples of the voluntary muscles. Fourth question. State the functions of bones in our body. We already discussed about the total bones in our body, all of this. Answer is bones along with muscles help us to move our body parts. Most of the blood cells are produced inside bones. Bones also store calcium for body. This we know already total about the bones, and also these are the points for the functions of the bone, and this is the example for the function of the bone. This picture is an example for the functions of the bone in our body. Fifth question. Give differences between gliding and pivot joint. See here, gliding joint, pivot joint. This joint allows bones to glide one another in any direction. See here, gliding joint. This joint allows bones to glide on one another in any direction. Pivot joint. The joint allows sideways as well as up and down movements. See here, they help the back to bend and twist. Here, this joint allows neck can move in all directions. It is called planar joint. It is called rotary joints. What are the example for the gliding joint? Joints in our wrist and ankle. What are the examples for the pivot joint? Joint between the skull and the backbone. We already discussed it in short form of questions. This is the total difference between the gliding and pivot joint. Seventh question. How is a ball and socket joint different from a gliding joint? Answer is ball and socket joint, gliding joint. We already discussed about in short questions what is the ball and the socket joint. I already showed the ball and socket joint picture also. See here, ball and socket joint. In this joint, the ball-shaped end of one bone fits into the cup-shaped socket of other bone. Gliding joint. This joint allows bones to glide one another in any direction. They allow rotary motion. Here, This helps the back to bend and twist. What is the example of ball and the socket joint? Hip and the shoulder joint. Gliding joint example, joint in our wrist and ankle. This is the difference of ball and socket joint and gliding joint. See, eighth question. Explain how muscles and bones help in the movement of our bone. Answer is, when the muscles contract or relax, they move the bones. When a muscle contracts, the bones are pulled closer to each other. For example, when we bend our knee, the leg muscles contract and thus become shorter. See here, become shorter. When we extend our leg, the muscles relax and become longer. Thus, muscles and bones help in the movement of our body. See here, this is the example for this picture is example for the muscles and bones helps in the movement of our body. See, this is the when we extend our leg. See, when we extend our leg, the muscles relax and become bigger. When we bend our knee, the legs muscles contract, thus become shorter. See, this is the how muscles and bones help in movements of our body. Thank you all. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you.